Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Harakakadash. Don't want to see apostles and elders of great most on the real wall. And Shalom to all the brothers doing the work, serving truth. Um, got this complete, complete and total madness, essentially being pushed out. Where you got the Aretha Franklin song, A Natural Woman, apparently being being said as offensive, to these transgenders, because well, because we're in an age of confusion, man. We're in an age of complete and total whacked out insanity. We're in a clown world where reality can't be acknowledged. So that's why these things are basically being pushed forth. So this is what it's on the New York Post. It says Aretha Franklin's song "A Natural Woman" blasted by transgender activists. They're saying a little prayer. One alleged activist group in Norway is calling for Aretha Franklin's hit 1968 song "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman" to be removed from both Apple Music and Spotify after they deemed its lyrics offensive. The Trans Cultural Mindfulness Alliance took to Twitter last week to condemn the ballad, citing that it has ignited harm against transgender women. Aretha Franklin's 1968 song, "Natural Woman," perpetuates multiple harmful anti-trans stereotypes. The organization tweeted, "There is no such thing as a natural woman." And that's where, society is approached to where, you're going to have you're going to have a woman with two kids. She might be pregnant again and whatnot. And then, you're going to plop, some dude in a pink dress with hairy legs out and a beard. And then you're meant to acknowledge those two as the same, the same sex or gender of person, man. And that's obviously completely insanity. That's obviously just unraveling from the reality of the world. Like, men and women, they have express roles to play. And it's funny because the defense they always jump to is like, oh, what if a woman can't have kids? But then it's a matter of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua can open up the womb or seal it easily. So, like, those things are not like that's something that at any point can be carried out. There's no point at which a man can be activated and then he's gonna be able to carry a child, man. That's complete confusion. So, but these are the things that now, those you got the young kids coming up now where these things are going to be impressed upon them. So why they got drag queens talking to kids, why they got these things in schools being spoken about when motherfuckers are 6 and shit. When I was 6, the hell was I doing in school? It was coloring. You're coloring in pictures. You're making papier mache fucking on around balloons. 6-year-old had no fucking clue what the hell was going on the planet Earth, bro. So for your mind to just be getting zapped with these ideas is obviously just it's complete confusion. But that's now it's their age now. It's their age. Like it's kind of blown up. The whole LGBT, the whole alphabet gang has blown up out of like that shit in a real short space of time. So I remember there was a time where it was like it would be a rarity to see some dude in a dress when we're at camp, be getting cursed out. But then there was a time where it was prominent, where you seen it being spoken about, seeing these guys out everywhere. That's wild. It's like even where I work is one of the more where it's got concentrations of the more affluent types, guys who make a bit more money. And them guys are out there, like get what we saying? We getting play, man. You know, those guys with money, they're dealing with those, so-called the transes and whatnot. Because it's complete confusion, man. So it says the Post has reached out to Franklin's rep, Spotify and Apple Music for content. No, the Post or the newspaper has reached out to Franklin's rep, Spotify and Apple Music for comment. According to the organization's bio on a social media platform, they aim to promote cultural changes to ensure the inclusivity of trans individuals. Yeah. So that means that, Aretha's tune needs to get thrown in the bin. Is that the actual thing? It said 150. She ain't getting no play. It says Aretha Franklin's 1968 song, Natural Woman, it's the same thing. But that's the confusion. That shit got started like last week. It could be some made up bullshit, but who even knows? But that, regardless, it's in lockstep with the push that you've had, where the alphabet has been getting pushed, and on the tail end of it, what's it coming to? That pedophilia, man. Essentially, that return of the pedestry. That's been pushed on the tail end of it, where it's like the LGBT and they put the P at the end, and they're saying, oh, it's just a sexual preference, it's completely natural, to sexually desire children, we just need to deal with it in a non-harmful way and blah blah. That's been getting pushed for a while as well, because kind of when that came up, then you started having that conversation being had just out of nowhere. That shit just started coming in. But then it's why fucking madness. Many Twitter users were outraged by the opinion about the Queen of Soul's work and questioned the legitimacy of the claims. So someone heard the song and attacked trans people. One person wrote in response, "What are things that never happened? $400. Another wrote, OMG, get a life and stop trying to cancel everything. How sad and pathetic one's life must be if this is a priority to you." This is a great song. You go at Aretha Franklin. But yeah, it's complete madness. Complete madness. And yeah, she ain't even alive, like. But it's all part of that. It's the whole alphabet movement has become, a key part of the confusion basically being brought in, because the family structure's been blown apart. You also had the what was it? Was it gay couple where they were pimping out the kids they adopted. So, that ties into the P again, like I was mentioning, where that's been a thing that's been, in the coattails of it, and hey, people are gonna Jesus, fucking hell, that's been on that's been on the coattails of it. So yeah, since it's been on the coattails, it's now coming to prominence again. So it's the guy said, yeah, satire. It might well be satire. We wait and see. But then it's like people are gonna take it and run with it, and that's the thing that happened with a lot of these things, where people can take it and run with it. There was something else that happened like that, where it started off as a joke and then it kind of got serious. I can't remember right now. But it was like there's been things where it's like it's so called been pushed out as something humorous. Then months later, weeks later, it then becomes a thing, and it's gained prominence. So it's, even if they're saying that, it's people are gonna take it up, because it's the same thing with the sports, where the greatest example is Serena Williams, where she had like women's tennis on lock for years on end, but then she went against like like 250th or some shit, in the 200s, man. He was a nobody, essentially, um, as far as internationally, and then like he fucking demolished her. So it just shows us that there's no dice, and that's tennis, where a guy ain't gonna be bulldozing into her, or a guy ain't gonna be fucking doing low kicks to break her leg, and then and then submitting her in a headlock or armbar, whatever. That's not something this even got to that stage yet. So when you get to that, that's when it's you throw it all out in the bin. But these are the times where you're meant to acknowledge that and just be like, no, that's brave, that's beautiful. Like with the fuck Bruce Jenner, man, that guy. That was one of the big fucking one of the big moments where it shifted. Because having Bruce Jenner basically come out and say, what I was saying, that was that was when it started getting pushed more heavily, especially in the mainstream. So Isaiah 29:16, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. For shall a work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall a thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Yeah, you're turning. That's essentially what all Esau's been doing, is turning things upside down. Because with this whole, now saying that a guy can just chop his willy off, and then put on a dress and some high heels, and then it's meant to be a woman. That's we're not dealing in the realm of reality. But they're making it where you have to go around, if you're in a work scenario, and then you got to you refer to them as you know as they actually are, then you can end up getting fired. You can end up getting reprimanded. It could fuck you over in long term. But that's how these things are pushed out. Because why? It's basically pushing everything to the brink of where it's then gonna it's gonna be completely out there, completely batshit. So it says for shall the work say of him that say of him that made it, he made me not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding. Yeah. So that's really what Esau's trying to be saying. A man isn't actually, he doesn't actually need to serve express purpose. Doesn't have a particular role. You could just throw it all in the bin. And now you're a woman. You can go around. You can have kids and blah blah blah. And that's what people. And the thing is because people think like, oh, eventually technology will get to where you're gonna rip a guy's nuts out, and then you'll implant. It'll be like Lego. Like you rip off the insides, and then you just like pop in a different set of insides, and then you're now going to be able to have kids and whatever the hell, which is complete madness. But these are the things that Esau desires to be able to do, and this is what the general public is indoctrinated. These guys are thinking all these things are eventually going to come to pass. This ties into part of why they think, how can anyone even come against this guy? Isaiah 24:3, it says, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled. For the Lord Yahweh has spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the world do languish. So yeah, everything out here is all mourning and fading away. Because just as with, in the aspects of like that, the strength of the food coming forth, the plants, the animals and whatnot, then the people as well, the the morals of the people, the capabilities, and whatnot. It's funny because when you come into like the industrialization, there was a bunch of things that were being done, ancient practices that go back to medieval times, go back to back in the fertile crescent land of Israel and whatnot, that were been done for thousands of years, and then all those things are thrown in the bin, man. It's like with the way katanas were crafted in Japan and whatnot. The steel was folded with a lot of the metalworks ceased to exist because the metalwork ceased to exist because they weren't smiths. They weren't smiths to basically keep the techniques. Then you lose a bunch of techniques, and then it's only later on because they're like, oh, we got these mills, we got all these various means, new technologies, but then there were techniques from before that were just completely outshining things happening today. And hey, that's that's the pride of Esau, but then it's also about what? Everything's languishing and fading away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Uh, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. So these are all things Esau's done. Transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. He's thrown most things just in the bin and been like, no, this is how we're gonna do it. And it's really like ramped up from the 60s, and then it's the spirit really come off this place in the 70s, because that's been what the time that the truth, that the word's been coming out. It's really been the time the word's been coming out. Therefore, if the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate, therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Yeah, you got like as far as for now, people are decimated on a mental level, man. They are thoroughly damaged, in their minds, to where things that are completely discordant and destructive and now promoted, for them to go out and be a whore. They say, oh, you should go out, and in your most fertile years, just be getting, flipped and suplexed, by becoming a town bicycle. And then afterwards, when you're all busted up, you're tired, you got flat tire, your chains all rusted, the brakes don't work, and then that's when you're meant to, you're gonna fall into the role of trying to be a woman. So, all these things are just thrown, they're all completely in the bin. Completely in the bin, because now what Esau's saw fit to switch everything up, and everyone's following after. Isaiah, no, so like Revelation 13:3, it says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." So yeah, that original Roman Empire received that wound and be wounded to death, being done away with, where Jake came up in prominence, took over and set up a different system. And then what afterwards, you had the the Renaissance, where Esau was revived, he was brought back. And then what? Everyone in the world's wandering after him, man. He received his blessing. He was able to raise up, of the fatness of the earth for a peace, because he took the yoke off his neck. But then what? It's only for a season. That's in Revelation 20. It says, there must be loosed a little season. He's got his little season. And now that little season's over, he's trying to hang on. He's trying to keep it going, man. He ain't ready to let it go. But hey, that's what the real is. That's why and everyone's wondering after. They're basically just seeing, the madness Esau's doing, saying, "Oh, no, this is it. This is the future. Everyone needs to think like this. Now, if you're not, you disagree, then you got issues. You're problematic." But I'll leave it there. Shalom. Yabba shabba shab. Shalom.